Good everybody, Julian from Mosh here again. Hope you're all doing okay. Today I want to talk to you about production cycles or workflows, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to explain how we do this at Mosh, and what it allows us to do is produce a relatively high volume of content without sacrificing quality. We're a pretty small team, everybody is amazing, incredibly talented, but the secret behind our ability to produce a high volume of content is having discipline around our production cycle. And I'm going to share that with you today. You probably know social media is pretty hungry for content. You need to produce content on a regular basis. It needs to be amazing and it needs to be engaging, etc., etc. So having discipline around the cycle that you use to produce the content is absolutely essential. And this applies whether you're an in-house team or an agency or a freelancer. So it's best to explain with a graphic. Let's take a look. So we start with 4 weeks. Pretty simple. Now in our case, we have some clients on a calendar month to calendar month cycle and another set of clients on a mid-month to mid-month cycle. That allows us to avoid bottlenecks in our cycle, people getting too busy, being too slammed on the busy weeks. You may find that you don't need to have that split, depending on how many brands or how many clients you're working with, but we find it really helpful. Each week in this cycle has a very, very specific purpose and a goal. So let's start with week 1. Brainstorms. So week 1 is idea week. That doesn't mean just gazing out the window and waiting for inspiration to hit you like a bolt of lightning. It is active ideation. So looking at what's in the marketing calendar, what else is coming up, what's in the general calendar. So is it Father's Day? Are there any other events that you should be planning around? It's also reporting week, and I'll come back to this because it's sort of the last part of this cycle, but at the same time, you're reporting on the month prior. So you've got those insights. You can feed that into your idea sessions. The brainstorm that we do has a structure. I'll do another video on this because it's quite a big topic. But in a nutshell, we have pillars, topics under each pillar, and then triggers. We also, if you're invited to a brainstorm, you come along with your ideas. You don't come with a blank piece of paper. That doesn't work. There's some research about this where everybody kind of just zeroes in on the first idea and you don't get that breadth of ideas. So people come to the brainstorm with the ideas. You also need to know how many ideas you need before the brainstorm starts. And that's how you open the brainstorm. Okay, everybody, we need 32 ideas today. Nobody leaves. Lock the doors until we've got that. So brainstorms, coming up with the ideas. You don't get bogged down into starting to write the blog post or whether it's going to be a Facebook post or an Instagram story. It's just the seeds or the triggers of the ideas that you're going to be producing. So that's week 1. Week 2, into production. So you've got the ideas, you've got them mapped out. Now you need to make them. So that's creating the graphics, sourcing the photography, writing the copy, shooting the video, whatever the case may be. Some of it you're going to have already, so it's repurposed, but week 2, getting everything created. And you'll see there it doesn't quite finish at the end of the week because you need to proof it. So that does bleed over into week 3, but internally, before it goes to your manager, or in our case, our clients, for their review, you proof it internally. So you go back over it, you make sure it makes sense. Does it align with the strategy? Are there any typos? And then when you're happy, week 3, approvals and revisions. That's quite a long time. It does take time. You need to allow for this in your cycle, in your timeline, because people are going to have feedback. People are going to send you back to the drawing board. Stuff's going to get rejected. You need to bake in enough time to accommodate all of that feedback. Make sure you revise your work and get it to a point where everybody's happy. So there's a whole week for that. That's really important. Then week 4, targeting and promoting. So everything is scheduled in advance. You have to use, whether you're using Creator Studio, which sucks, don't use it, or you're using scheduling tools in Ads Manager or Sked Social, whatever the case may be. You're getting all that pre-scheduled in advance and getting the boosts or the promotion correct as well, and running ad campaigns, getting all that set up, getting the targeting, referring back to the strategy. That takes a week. So that's the cycle. There's one more step, as I said earlier. Week 1 is also reporting. for the previous month. And that works really well. As I said, you're writing the report, you're looking at the data, you're extracting those insights as you're coming up with the ideas for the next month. And again, there's just a step there for the report to be approved before it goes to management or the client or whatever the case may be. That's it. That's our cycle. It works really, really well. I suggest that you try it if you haven't got something already, or adapt it to your purposes, and just be disciplined around it. Of course, there's going to be exceptions, and there's going to be spontaneous stuff, and things are going to slip in, and the client or your manager is going to ring up and say, we've got a post about something this Friday, it needs to go out, it's 4 p.m. That's okay. Spontaneity is absolutely part of social media, but it needs to sit on a foundation of stuff that's planned. That's really important. So yeah, hopefully there's some value there for you. Let us know in the comments.